Welcome back to the check-in. My name is Jarrett. Today I'm joined by Karoon Mackenchery. Karoon, how you doing?
Good, Jarrett. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are recording this on the 1st of January, and this will be out tomorrow, the 2nd of January. And today we're going to talk about potentially the sexiest topic in Bitcoin mining. Are you prepared? We're going to be talking about insurance. So, Karoon, you actually have kind of a PhD in insurance when it comes to Bitcoin mining hardware insurance. So, could you kind of run through, first off, why this is important and why this is something that people should maybe be thinking about now that we're in 2025?
Yeah, definitely. So, as we all know, Bitcoin mining it's a capital intensive industry, right? And we have significant operational risks, including things like equipment damage, theft, natural disasters, power disruptions. And so insurance is an important tool that Bitcoin miners can use to help safeguard their investments, ensure operational continuity, and protect against unforeseen events. So, yeah, as you mentioned, not the most sexiest topic when it comes to Bitcoin mining, but I'm hoping today, we can share some insights so that the listeners can kind of understand the importance of having a sound strategy when it comes to procuring insurance for your mining operations.
Yeah, it's not maybe the coolest topic, but it is one of those topics that's almost like an elephant in the room. And whether you have one miner up or you have 10 or 100 or even 1,000, as some of our clients do, this is something you really want to think about. Most of the things in our lives are insured. If you're in the United States, your body is insured. You have health insurance. You have your car is insured. The home you live in is insured. If you're renting, it's still insured, right? Your landlord has some kind of insurance on the house. Most of the things of value in our life have insurance. So it makes sense then that the mining rigs that we use to get Bitcoin also have insurance. So with that said, do you want to run us through kind of like the brief history of insurance when it comes to the Bitcoin mining industry?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll go as far back as like 2021. That's back when I started in the industry actually. And insurance and Bitcoin mining, it didn't always mix well. The insurance industry is notorious for moving very slow, using a lot of data to back its policies, and that's how they price a lot of their policies when it comes to any type of insurance. And so they're always looking out for a lot of historical data, which in Bitcoin mining we didn't really have, right? So back in 2021, at least at Compass, it was very difficult to find partners who would help advise and secure and procure insurance for us. And what that led to is kind of, these brokers or the insurance partners not really understanding our space. They don't understand the risks. They don't understand our industry. And what that can lead to then is inefficient pricing across the board. So where you might see a policy that's very cheap, but when you dig into the actual policy language, it's not really covering anything. Or you'll get the opposite, where an insurance coverage that you might have been priced at was very high, but then at the same time, it's covering things that aren't necessary for your operations. And so, like I said, just very inefficient pricing. That being said, the professionalism in the Bitcoin mining industry has grown, right, a lot in the past recent years. And so because of that, insurance interest has also grown as well. So back before 2021, in a lot of cases when you might have had only one or two high price options for insurance, or in some cases, the insurers are not even willing to insure your operations. Now we're starting to see more entrants into the market. And so when you get those more entrants into the market, you're getting competitive pricing, and that's favorable for the buyer of insurance, in this case, the Bitcoin miners itself. And then lastly, I'll just note, the launch of the ETFs within the last year has been a really big benefit for our industry as it pertains to interacting with the insurance industry. That it's signaling to them, we're here to stay. And so with that, again, like I mentioned before, a lot more options have entered to the market, which leads to better coverages, better understanding of the risks in our industry, and ultimately better pricing.
Yeah, and one of the things you actually said in the intro was you started to talk about the key types of risks. You said operational risks, even things like natural disasters. We know that climate is going to continue to maybe be not as predictable as it has been. And so, can you run us through some of the key types of risks that people should be thinking about when they're thinking about maybe why they should be considering insurance?
Yeah, I'll name probably the five biggest risks that I believe are inherent in Bitcoin mining. So the first one is property risk. That can be property damage to the mining rigs itself, to the building or infrastructure around the mining rigs, as well as operational risk is the second one. So, when you have operational failures, whether it's due to the equipment or to the labor, that's going to lead to downtime and loss of revenue, right? Regardless of if you're a self miner or you're a hosting company. The third one is cybersecurity risks, right? There's a lot of cyber attacks that can target mining operations or the data that's associated with mining operations. The fourth I'll just kind of put as a general liability risk. This is any potential lawsuits that might come from employees, partners, or customers in the case of a hosting company. And then the last one I'll mention is the regulatory risk, right? With Bitcoin mining, it seems like the compliance is changing every day. It's very complex, and regulations, whether it's at the local, state, or federal level, are always changing. And so that's obviously a big risk for Bitcoin miners.
Yeah, and having said all of those different risks from cybersecurity to compliance to operational property risks, after having said all those, what are some common types of insurance for Bitcoin miners? Because the story in my head is like, just like when you get a rental car, there's like three different tiers of coverage for your home. There's probably different types of coverage, also depending upon if you have a garage and other things, if you have an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU. So, what are the types of insurance packages or offers in the industry?
Yeah, so there are different types of insurance policies that will cover those risks that I mentioned. The main ones that Bitcoin miners should be kind of thinking about are obviously property insurance, right, to cover those property risks that I mentioned. A new product that's actually entered the mining industry within the last year, but it's been prevalent in other industries for a while, is business interruption insurance. So that will help compensate you for any lost income during periods of downtime, that's caused by covered events. Maybe, like I said, the equipment failing or operational issues. Another one is the cyber insurance. So that's directly going to protect you against cyber attacks, data breaches, ransomware, and other cyber threats. Then there's general liability insurance. That's going to protect against those third body claims, things like bodily injury and even in some cases property damage to the infrastructure itself. And then the last one I'll mention, which is probably more geared towards public companies or larger private Bitcoin mining companies, is directors and officers insurance. So that can really protect the leadership or even all the employees of a company from potential lawsuits that are brought forward by either customers or investors that are related to decisions that or actions that the organization itself has made.
This is a great list, and thank you for sharing those. Not only the risks and then the potential types of different, the different types of insurance, the different types of insurances, I should say. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to say, but it was. I guess 2025 is going to be a new year. What are some considerations? What are some tips? What are some things people can do to start to learn more about insurance? And like, where would you point someone to learn more about Bitcoin mining insurance? You run into someone and they say, okay, Karoon, I'm really excited to get 10 miners hosted with Compass. That seems to make sense. I've been in Bitcoin for a while. I see what you guys are doing at Compass. I'm reading all the news. You guys are expanding all over the country, getting more megawatts online. It seems like it's time to put my miners with you. Where would you say people should go, and what are some considerations maybe, and where would you point people to go to learn more about the insurance landscape in Bitcoin mining?
Yeah, so I'd probably point them to our network of brokers that Compass uses. We've had a lot of experience with these brokers. We've gone through a lot of different brokers to find the right team. And I'd probably say that's a number one important consideration for a Bitcoin miner that's looking to procure the right insurance coverage for their operations, is making sure you're working with the right broker or insurance advisor. You're not going to be able to go directly to the insurance companies and work with them on finding a policy. They get a lot of inbound requests. And so what they do is they work with third-party brokers or advisors who bring them the business. So you're going to be working directly with the brokers, and you want to make sure you find the right broker in the space. I always say, like, as with most things, using referrals are a great way to find good partners in the space. These brokers, you want to make sure they have experience. They understand not just cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin, but also Bitcoin mining. And they also are following up to date with all the market dynamics that change within our industry, right? So As I said before, things are complex in our industry. Things are changing almost on a daily basis, and you want to make sure your brokers are keeping up to date with those news so that they can help advise on, what's an adequate premium that you should be purchasing for your insurance coverages. What are the limits? What type of coverage options? What type of insurances should you be purchasing? So that's probably the number one important consideration for minors is making sure you have the right broker. The second thing I would say is taking that broker and really having them understand your business, depending on what type of miner you are, whether you're a self miner, a hoster, maybe you're in a profit sharing arrangement. Those are all different unique risk profiles, right? So you want to make sure the broker understands your business just as well as you do. They should be able to advise on, what is, or estimate on like how much premium you would be paying in comparison to your peers in the industry. And then lastly, they should just take all that information and not just submit it to the insurance companies and then give you the policy information and the premiums back. They should also be working with you to improve your risk management, your internal risk management tools. So being able to advise on maybe how to build out a mining site to secure the best insurance for your operations, or listing out preventative measures for your operations, things like having fire suppression systems or sprinklers or alarm systems, security, that type of thing within your operations. So yeah, I'd probably say those are the three biggest important considerations for miners in our space.
I like that you said referrals go a long way, because you reach out to any one of these insurance companies and they get so many inbound requests for insurance quotes or whatever. Can we go ahead and leave your LinkedIn or your email in this episode link description so that way people can reach out to you if maybe they're like, hey, I would like to learn more about insurance, if they're a Compass customer?
Yeah. There's not a lot of people in our industry who loves talking insurance. I'm probably at the top of that list, so I'm always excited when I find other people that are interested. So yeah, I would be more than happy to talk to our audience, or anyone that reaches out that wants to talk about insurance in the Bitcoin mining industry. And I hope our listeners take away from our conversation today. Insurance, it's not just an expense. If used properly, it can really be an investment in your operations and provide that peace of mind. A lot of requirements, in terms of contractual relationships, whether it's between a host and a customer, a miner and the landowner, will have insurance requirements. And so you want to make sure you're procuring the best and most accurate insurance for your operations.
Absolutely. And before we kind of wrap this check-in up, anything else that you want to say as far as like a call to action for next steps if people are looking to figure out their insurance strategy for 2025?
Yeah, definitely. Just, stay informed, do your research around those right partners, whether it's the brokers or ultimately the insurance companies themselves. And yeah, just lastly, don't underestimate the role that insurance can play in protecting your Bitcoin mining operations.
Well, I hope that people realize this was an invitation to email Karoon, which I'm going to put his email in the episode's description. He got very excited at the thought of people emailing him in 2025 asking him about mining insurance. So make sure you do that. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Listening on a podcast platform, please subscribe. Make sure you're following Compass Mining on X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Karoon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk some insurance.
Of course. Thank you, Jarrett.